What was the moment you decided to cut off your family? I was adopted at the young age of 2, but my parents always treated me like a bad kid. They had their own biological sons that were older than me, and their golden children who could do no wrong. I often got in trouble, mostly for things my brothers blamed me for. I was often forgotten. I rarely celebrated my birthday since it was so close to Christmas, and I was even lucky if I got any Christmas presents. My brothers overshadowed me, and even when they grew up and moved away from home, my parents still treated me like I was invisible, so I stayed out of the way. I let them forget they had a daughter, and I built my own family. For context, I was in therapy for years after I graduated from high school and moved away from home. My dad was physically abusive, often hitting me as soon as I got home from school. Then there was Mom, who had a way with her words. She knew exactly what to say to destroy my spirit. My brothers didn't help things either. They saw how my parents treated me and decided to copy them. When my parents didn't discourage their bullying, they became braver and started shoving me around with our parents standing right there, watching. My dad would often tell me I had to learn to stand up for myself while Mom would turn a blind eye, pretending it didn't happen. I had many stories about the trauma I went through in my childhood. My therapist gave me a suggestion: put all my thoughts and feelings into a letter to my parents. I had an okay relationship with them now that I wasn't living at home. They saw me more and would call to ask me how my day was or if I had met someone yet. My mom would also tell me that she has a list of guys who would love to go out with me. I just wanted them to leave me alone, but I thought about what my therapist told me. A letter could be a good way to get closure, so I wrote them this letter. It was a 5-page letter, front and back, written in my pretty cursive handwriting. I put the letter in an envelope and mailed it without thinking too much about it. My hands shook with nerves as I stepped away from the mailbox. I was scared of what their reaction would be. I didn't want to upset anyone, but I also needed to close this chapter of my life. A few days later, I was sitting in the kitchen with my fiancé, reading the newspaper, when my phone rang in my pocket. It was Mom. I quickly answered it, heart racing in my chest. "What the heck was your letter about?" Mom immediately hissed. I frowned. I began, but she cut me off. "I know what it's about," she snapped. "But why did you do this? Our lives were good without you bringing this stuff back up. This is all in the past. Why can't you just let it go?" I was breathing heavily by the time she finished her question. My hand gripped the phone tight enough for my knuckles to turn white. My fiancé stood with a small frown on his face. "Are you going to at least apologize?" I finally asked in a hoarse tone. Mom laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. "Why should I?" she sneered. "I was a good parent to you. You never wanted for anything. Now you're being an ungrateful brat." She spat the last word out in disgust. Tears entered my eyes and spilled down my cheeks as a calmness suddenly spread through me. I nodded sharply and wiped the tears from my cheeks. "I just wanted you to know that I have a great life," I began. "I have a fiancé and great friends who support me in everything I do. You aren't part of that because you can never take responsibility for your actions. I'm done with you." The letter was just closure for me. Lose my number. I was about to hang up when Mom yelled at me to wait. "What about your wedding?" she asked in a quivering voice. "Any kids you might have?" I scoffed. "No way would I want my kids around you," I snarled. "You won't be in our lives and we won't be in yours. I'm cutting you off for good." I hung up to the sound of her yelling curses and threats at me. My fiancé pulled me into a hug and I held him tightly. I had a new family, not one made of blood,